The quiet village of Nkaboli rested beneath a canopy of twinkling stars, where life moved at a gentle, predictable rhythm. Amara, a spirited girl of 13, found joy in the simplest pleasures, skipping barefoot along the dusty paths, listening to her mother's soothing songs, and sitting under the baobab tree with her father's comforting stories. Their laughter echoed like music through the village, a symphony of love that seemed unbreakable. One stormy night, as rain pelted the village and lightning clawed at the sky, tragedy struck. Amara's parents, returning from the market, were caught in the tempest. Their cart overturned on the slippery road, and they never made it home. The news came at dawn, delivered with somber faces and whispered condolences. Amara's world shattered in an instant. The funeral was a blur of tears and muffled sobs. The villagers, though kind, could only offer fleeting comfort. In the days that followed, Amara wandered the village aimlessly, clutching her mother's shawl and her father's old watch. The weight of grief was suffocating, and the silence in their small home was unbearable. Nights were the hardest. She would lie awake, staring at the thatched roof, tears slipping silently down her cheeks as memories of her parents consumed her. When her uncle Mateo arrived, dressed in city clothes and speaking with an air of authority, Amara saw a glimmer of hope. He was her father's younger brother, a man she barely knew but who promised to care for her. "She will be safe with me," he assured the villagers. "I will give her a better life." Amara clung to those words as she left the village, her heart heavy with loss but tinged with hope for a new beginning. Her mother's shawl was tucked in her bag, her father's watch on her wrist, as she took one last look at her childhood home. She whispered a tearful goodbye to the baobab tree and the memories it held, carrying them with her as she embarked on an uncertain journey. The city was unlike anything Amara had ever seen. It buzzed with life, cars honked, people bustled, and lights glimmered even at night. Mateo's house stood tall and imposing, with high walls and iron gates. Inside, his wife, Njeri, greeted Amara warmly. She was kind and attentive, fussing over Amara's meals and helping her settle into her new room. For a brief moment, Amara felt like she could breathe again. At first, life seemed to improve. Amara enrolled in school and marveled at the opportunities the city offered. Yet, beneath the surface, an unease began to grow. Mateo's gaze lingered too long, his compliments veiled with an unsettling undertone. "You're growing into a beautiful young lady," he'd say, his hand resting on her shoulder a moment too long. Amara tried to dismiss the feelings, convincing herself she was imagining things. But the touches became more frequent, more invasive. He would find reasons to be alone with her, brushing against her in ways that made her skin crawl. She avoided him as much as she could, staying late at school or hiding in her room. The walls of Mateo's house, once a symbol of safety, began to feel like a prison. Her heart ached for the simple life she had left behind, for her parents' warmth and the freedom of the village. When she confided in Njeri, her words were met with disbelief. "Mateo loves you like his own daughter," she said dismissively. "You must be misunderstanding his intentions." Amara's voice faltered. She felt trapped, her fears dismissed by the very people who were supposed to protect her. The weight of isolation pressed down on her chest, and each day became a battle to endure. Her memories of her parents became a lifeline, their love a faint but guiding light in her darkest moments. She would often sit by her window at night, staring at the stars and whispering her pain to the heavens, hoping her parents could somehow hear her. One night, as the house lay silent, Amara's fears were realized. Mateo entered her room, his shadow stretching across the wall. Her heart pounded as she locked the door, her trembling hands stacking furniture against it. "Amara, open the door," he said softly, his tone chillingly calm. "You don't need to be afraid." She didn't respond. Instead, she sat huddled in the corner, clutching a photograph of her parents. The faint light of the moon illuminated their smiling faces, a bittersweet reminder of the love she had lost. When his attempts to coax her failed, he left, but the sound of his retreating footsteps did little to ease her terror. The next morning, Amara made a decision. She packed her school bag with a few clothes, her parents' photograph, and a small amount of money she had saved. As dawn broke, she slipped out of the house and into the city's labyrinth of streets, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The city was unkind to a young girl alone. Amara wandered aimlessly, her stomach growling and her feet blistered. She slept in alleyways, using her bag as a pillow, and scavenged for food wherever she could find it. The bustling streets that once seemed so vibrant now felt cold and hostile. One day, as she sat on the curb, her stomach cramping with hunger, an old woman approached. She had a weathered face and kind eyes that seemed to hold a lifetime of wisdom. "Child, you look lost," she said, her voice gentle. "Come with me. I'll give you something to eat." The woman, Mama Njeri, ran a small roadside stall selling tea and snacks. She took Amara in, offering her food and a place to sleep in the tiny room behind the store. Under Mama Njeri's care, Amara began to heal. The old woman taught her to read and write, encouraging her to share her thoughts and feelings. "Your voice is your strength," Mama Njeri often said. "Never let anyone take it from you." Years passed, and Amara grew into a confident young woman. The scars of her past remained, but they no longer defined her. She began working with Mama Njeri at the store, using her earnings to enroll in evening classes. Her determination inspired those around her, and she became a beacon of hope for other children in need. Amara also found her calling in advocacy. She spoke at community meetings, sharing her story to raise awareness about abuse and the importance of protecting vulnerable children. Her words resonated, and she soon became a respected voice in the city. One evening, standing before a crowd at a charity event, Amara recited a poem she had written. Her voice trembled but grew stronger with each word. "Though the stars witnessed my tears, they also guided me home, From the ashes of despair, I rose, And now, I am not alone." The audience erupted in applause, but it was Mama Njeri's proud smile from the back of the room that brought tears to Amara's eyes. Underneath the quiet stars, Amara had found her strength. She built a life rooted in resilience and compassion, turning her pain into a force for change. Through her work, she became a beacon for others, proving that even in the darkest of nights, the light of hope could always break through. And though the scars of her past would always remain, they served as a testament to her courage, a reminder of the battles she had fought and the resilience that carried her forward. Amara was no longer just a survivor, she was a warrior, a guide, and a voice for the voiceless.